Well, welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our first map of the evening right here at the ESL Pro League. My name is Blue. Joining me this evening is going to be Dazed, and yeah, so moving
Actually,
into... Yeah.
Changed my alias.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, from now on, I will only be referred to as www.youtube.com/godazed, Godazed. So every time you say dazed, I need it to be said like that. They could actually change the bottom thing, you know, where it says Sam Marine.
The lower third?
Yeah, the lower third. It should say Sam and then that thing and then dazed.
All right, so it's myself and www.youtube.com/godazed are here once again.
Oh, wait, you forgot the Godazed.
Godazed.
Exactly.
Yeah, just so they get the clarification. But we are ready to jump, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, into our first map. I think they're live. I think they're ready to go. So let's take a look at the action here. It's Immortals taking on Rush. Unfortunately, not one of the most competitive match that we'll have here in the league. Rush.
Don't speak so soon.
Oh, really?
Rush almost beat Optic on Overpass.
It's true. It's true.
Due to mix well, rushing and dying 8 rounds in a row.
Well, we're into it here, and speaking of Rush are going to rush their way into the B-bomb site now and try to take quick control up here. It's Little Man leading the charge, but he just gets wrecked by Steel from CT main. Bolt's picking up another one here from the side, and Lucas denies the plant. Oh my goodness! They get pinched so quickly on that B-bomb site. They don't even get the bomb down, and there you go. It's the pistol for the Immortals.
That was not a bad pistol at all, though, by Rush. I mean, it was a B-rush, yes, but they actually smoked off short at the start. I mean, Lucas ran through it and killed people in the back, but I thought that was actually pretty clever and a good strat by them. Obviously, the shots by Immortals, just their pistols are pretty nuts, especially Lucas. When we see Lucas with a deagle, always very impressive. He's had some incredible rounds with that, and of course, that's going to translate to any type of pistol play.
Getting into the second round now, Rush obviously with Plant are just going to fully invest into this one. Everybody except for Silent, of course, so it's Tech 9 armor buys across the board. And we'll see them just take it nice and slow. In the event that Immortals did try to play aggressively against them, they are holding back in the playground and lower tunnels there to make sure that they aren't immediately going to lose a large portion of their players on trying to just push out and take, even a small portion of control across the map. Immortals, in the meantime, are playing it back pretty passively themselves. You have Henny kind of pushed out into the bathrooms, but beyond that, they've all pretty much stuck to the sites, and I think there's a little boost up down on B as they have the 3 stack there, but obviously won't be seeing a whole lot of action from that position since Rush are going to be grouping up now over here at long and short A and try to just swing in and to the best of their ability, attempt to surprise Immortals and take control of the site off of that. The timing on this smoke almost perfect from Henny, just as they were getting ready for the push. Now, however, he also has the part of the inside smoked off, so they'll throw the nade down. It actually does an okay amount of damage, but FNX, the second player around here too, is also going to get pushed back quite a bit. He's able to pick off Toy on the retreat though, and while Little Man's pushing forward past the green dumpster, doesn't work out too successfully for him. FNX picking up a kill. Silent finally able to actually finish off FNX, who had escaped moments before, if you did remember that over at A-Long. And while for the last two, obviously having recovered the guns, the bomb going down to the ground, but they're just happy with the guns, so they're going to run away and just let Immortals defuse.
Yeah, FNX, although he went down to 8 HP, he runs towards long, he kills 2. Little Man pushes up and doesn't even get 1 frag, and then 2 players had to chase FNX to kill him when he had 8 HP the whole time. So with 8 HP, kills 2, runs away, and finds exactly where the other 2 guys are. So it's just such an easy post-plant, or, retake scenario after that.
Yeah, and now into the third round here. They basically the trash round for most of Rush, but thankfully they still actually have quite a few of the guns saved from the previous ones. Not only are they going to have those UMPs, but they can toss over the Tech 9 Toy. He even reinvests into armor. Blade gets himself a little bit more, and they're going to go right back into that Rush play here, smoking themselves off a little bit on the push outside of Monster, just to give them room to spread out. Unfortunately, things aren't starting too well for them, but they trade it back right after they lose their initial player. They pick up a second one. Steel, though, getting a massive triple kill after he takes down Aegis with a nade, and ends up with 4 overall on the round, taking down Silent. So pretty quick one there. Good attempt from Rush once more, as they do still take down quite a decent amount of Immortals as players. So now in these rebuys and one, it is going to bring them down a bit lower. Not to the point where they're going to be completely unable to afford should they outright lose this next round here. But still, some damage, and now we get to see what they're able to pull on a full gun round.
Yeah, and Immortals sometimes suffers the same, when they feel they kind of got the game won and whatnot. They get a little loose out there, play, get a little bit too peaky, and sometimes
goes back to bite them.
Yeah.
Well, we have this nice boost up again, and we saw how much effectiveness this had on one of our Overpass maps last night. Gets one. Good counter up by Aegis, though. Yeah, he's able to immediately knock down FNX on the repeak. And so it goes down to a 4v4, just the first that ever happened. So that'll cause, obviously, a little bit of a slowdown on the Rush side of things, as they are going to be waiting this out now. Not even a whole lot of damage goes back onto Aegis at all here either. But Lucas holds on, just barely. But he does hold on against Blade when he attempts to push through those lower tunnels there. And it gives the advantage back over to the Immortals now. As Rush, unfortunately, 45 seconds into the round here, have not made any good effort at all to actually push and take some map control. And once again, in a moment, are going to have to challenge up against Lucas, who's now just holding in that stairs cubby. As he goes in. Oh no, he doesn't even check it. So Lucas is able to swing out for free. And at just the 5 HP there, picks up his second on the round. Silent stuck now at the entrance towards short A over here, leading past the bathroom area and into the connector. Now, he may be able to sneak down unnoticed and at the very least trade onto Lucas, but even with that, Henny's close and nicely found by Henny. Immediately gets the headshot to take down Silent, so it's just Toy alone in a 1v4. Immortals will indeed close out pretty unscathed at the end of everything.
Yeah, only one death that round, and Overpass, I don't think it's like a lot of these other maps where if it is a 4v4 on CT side, you definitely favor the T's quite a lot, right? Especially on a map like Cobble, for instance. I think T's could do a lot of good work in 4v4s on Cobble. But Overpass, I don't think it's nearly as favored. I think there's a lot of avenues that the CTs can go and flank people. I think you could hold passive in the sites 2-2 pretty well, as Immortals is going to get very aggressive here at Fountain.
Yeah, they didn't even have to rebuy a whole lot of utilities. They weren't even forced to use a lot of smokes or anything in the last round, so I think most were only buying like $6 to $12 in this one. 1-1 to start us off here. Henny looking for multiple more, as Little Man is going to push back in, but that just gives himself away. Trade comes out from Akis. It ends up in a 3v2, however, as Toy also found FNX. And now the rest of Rush, again, obviously a bit of a delay here just to make sure that there's no additional trickery to be seen from the Immortals side. But for right now, Rush are holding, exchanging guns and whatnot. And then we'll see them try to push back in probably over here towards short A. The Immortals have been injured quite a bit. Bolt sits alone down towards B, and Lucas still trying to figure out if they're actually going to push forward over onto the A site or try to wrap back down through the connector after finding those kills over towards Party. And going right for it, the real question is, are Rush going to expect this much aggression after everything is said and done? There's one, and he transfers onto the second as well. So a round that Rush seemingly had in the bag if they had just gone straight forward and pushed onto the site, now swings itself around. And they haven't confirmed the position of Toy just yet. He's going to have to hope now that he can find this first transaction there. He will, takes down Lucas. One more to go in the hand of Bolt. So Bolt still has so much utility, and he's already pre-rotated up to the site. Does Toy even realize that he's just going to peek up from semi? Nope, he does not. And Bolt will be able to deny the plant and give Immortals their 5th round. Losing those 4 players obviously will hurt their economy. With the money that they're already working with, it's not going to be too big of a deal to rebuy.
Yeah, Bolt's just coming to that A site so quickly. Not sure what his rotation was there. If he was playing Heaven maybe at B and they were playing a retake or something. And then maybe moved over when Lucas got those kills actually, and then kind of moved back so he was really in close proximity. But still a really good eco nonetheless for Rush, punishing that Fountain pick.
See Steel getting boosted up again. They've done this once or twice already, just watching out for extra pressure inside of the water area and outside of the connector.
Yeah, and it's great because so many teams right now are just constantly throwing that Molotov at short, and they just take Sewer's control right away. And this is just a great counter to it. So I really like it. I really like that move by them.
Yeah, and so for Rush, again, they won't actually peek out towards water just yet, mainly focusing on the connector currently, while having a few more guys hold back outside of Monster. And Blade sits just outside of the playground area too to make sure that there was no additional pressure pushed from long. But in they will go to take control and start to move closer to the sites.
Yeah, so they take Bathrooms control with 2, 1 by Fountain and 2 outside of Monster at B. And now they have a long A setup here. And FNX is just going to push right up, get a free kill onto Akis. The smoke pops down. He's going to fall right back, and now they're just in a default setup. And they actually have a retake B right now, so they could have those 3 players a day.
For Everyone else at Rush rotating down towards B to try and play into it here. Immortals still set up with a few down onto that site to defend it. Rush are going to try and explode out, molly it out too, as we can see. Smokes and flashbangs do start to roll in, but the CTs have a bit of their own. They'll cover off the construction entrance, and I don't think those Cs actually have another smoke to cover that back off the push pass, so they're just going to have to eat that one and delay their own hit a little bit. Immortals obviously know the hit's coming here now, so smoke wall gets set up. It will give them access to be able to find a plant, but Blade now getting aggressive. He finds Steel, can't hit the shot. Nice find from Blade, however, but he is going to get traded out quickly from Heaven, and Lucas the same from him as Silent hits way back over there behind the tracks, taking down Lucas. Little Man also still holding a construction position, which could really hurt on this pushing from CT main. They're all grouped up right now, and there's going to be one for him. Tries to go for two, but again traded out, and this puts us back down to another even scenario as they all push in. Silent is still in Monster, and they haven't accounted for one of the remaining Ts sitting behind the pole. That'll give Toy the last frag, and Rush finally will get up onto the board.
Yeah, and the full retake at B, they didn't save their nades quite long enough. They used their nades during what they thought was the hit, but Rush was kind of just tiptoeing, stutter stepping a lot, and they didn't really do any damage. A lot of the time it's better to wait on those nades, wait until he's like planting the bomb, and then start pushing them out instead of just trying to kind of delay them.
So Immortals able to buy back into this next one here, but it is going to be a little bit light actually, considering the money that they had, or it looked like they had. We had players sitting around like 10K and whatnot, but a lot of rebuys forced in the last one, and obviously with the money already being low there, just outright losing this previous round with no saves is going to hurt. FNX though up close, kills one and does massive damage to another player. Little Man at 4 HP. If Steel wants to swing inside here, he could finish off the job, but unfortunately he'll get legged. Wow. And nicely done from Little Man. The information gets relayed over to him, and he's just able to spray him through the door and punish him before he can even try to escape through construction.
Yeah, and another reason, by the way, that last round on that retake at B didn't work is that they didn't have anybody flank. They didn't have to worry about the flank at all. So it just made, all four players only looking at Heaven and Catwalk, graffiti area. It's pretty easy to hold that off.
So Rush, again, same as before after they've been able to find a few trades here. Just curtail their own aggression, hold back for an extra 20 to 30 seconds, just slowly having Blade or another player move around the map to investigate and make sure that Immortals aren't trying to do anything aggressive to exchange that. And after everything has quieted down, now they'll start to move in once again to look for the hit here. As Silent even just checking out for Blade there to make sure there's nobody hugging on the wall down below the connector, and they'll be free to go in as everything is cleared back out. Problem for Lucas here is going to be that he is forced to dive in with Heaven being smoked off, but he finds a good angle to start things off. He's able to take about half the damage off Blade and then finish the job on a repeat. Bolts, unfortunately, hasn't been able to help out so much, and when his time comes, he's going to miss big time, which leaves Henny alone in a 1v3. And she's looking for any picks he can find that would actually allow him to start this retake right now, but if he doesn't get any in the next 10 to 15 seconds, more than likely we are just going to see him swing back up towards A and try to save that gun.
Uncharacteristic misses from Bolts. That almost never happens. He's pretty rock solid when it comes to just getting the kills he's supposed to get, being consistent in that aspect of the game. But really, you're gonna miss a shot like that on a kill that you definitely should get. You have no business winning the round. So Henny does a smart job of saving. He looks for any opportunistic kills like he just got, but if they aren't there, just go save. Don't even go for the round. Save it for the next round, and you might be able to win. Put CZs on your teammates, maybe some P250s. You make it 4v5. You stack a site. Good chance of winning.
Yeah, so as we see, the op is saved, but you might have gotten a glimpse of the money there for Immortals before we went to the replay. It's going to be pretty drastic heading into this round here. At most, you'll see a couple upgraded pistols, but even that is going to be rough. When we actually just see a full force again, they can just go for it here. Everybody was sitting right around 2K, so they're like all five of them should be completely out of cash at this point since they've gone for it. Henny might have a little bit left over since he saved in the last round, but that would be it. So we have to hope now that they find success with this, and Henny leaping out. That's the big gun too, but it immediately goes down at the hands of Akis. Lucas able to swing back out and trade, but Little Man and the others, for the guys on Rush, are making progress of taking control of that B site, and that is going to make this force fight essentially irrelevant now, as it's already down to a 4v2, and they know where at least one of those two are placed to try and actually win out here. So Bolts looking for an opportunity to swing out, but what do you know? Blade's still waiting there at the edge of the hallway. So FNX, he's the only one that hasn't been scouted out just yet, but he's completely detached from the hit, and there's really no safe path that he can use to even really find any major impact here anymore.
And it all starts from Henny just not realizing the timing of just how quickly they were going to come through. That Sewers gets caught out of position in the air, dies pretty much immediately. Now it's going to be a full save by Immortals. Henny will still be able to buy an off the upcoming round, and they'll have a pretty decent buy this next round. But you know, the full save comes out, and all of a sudden Rush's economy. After this round, if they suffer minimal casualties, they're going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, so off of that, we can see the full AKs and everything, and Blade even wants to try and hunt down a few extra guns, or a bit of extra cash, I should say, this time as he goes for the Mac 10 pickup. Immortals, in the meantime, not really bringing a whole lot to the party, but they do go for a full 5-man stack on B, which Rush is going to bite directly into that, so trouble possibly in the works for them. As we can see them trying to hold, Henny already finding one, but Akis responds to that, takes down FNX. More of them just getting dispatched up. They'll think they're clear now, but they'll find the fourth, and now they should expect to see the fifth here too. And there you go, just a textbook clear out of the site from Rush, as they do put themselves within 1 round's grasp of tying this game up.
Yeah, the full B stack only gets 1 kill out of it. Immortals fully bought out though. Nobody has more than $100 to their name, and Rush's economy is in really good shape right now. I mean, they're going to have to lose 2-3 rounds in a row before they actually are reset.
Yeah, Henny moving out there, as we can see, with full utility and everything, but this is another big risk, and essentially would allow Rush to take a bit of a lead here off of this one if they do win it without allowing for any saves on the Immortals side. So Rush splitting their players up. You can see more already going in for that water control, but Lucas may have just seen that, so kind of reasserting his teammates' own positions here, and they even followed it up with a smoke of their own to restrict the access there. Molly for the T's in the meantime went into connector, but there's no presence from Immortals sitting inside of there. They played pretty passive this time on short A, with the exception of sending FNX out to kind of watch for A long pressure, so not a whole lot being done to prevent connector control. They are going to let them just directly into the site. Blade should have seen one through the smoke, and in fact, he's going to be able to punish upon that. That steal going down. He's got jumping around, so it's not as easy to get this second kill. Thankfully, Little Man impacting, but they're still hunting down Bolts as he lurks around this smoke. He's found, however, by Toy, and that's all 3 dead again with just no response at all seen from the Immortals. And I doubt Henny and FNX are even going to attempt the retake. Henny, same as one of the last gun rounds here. He may try to hunt for a kill or 2 from this position, but that would be it.
Yeah, Blade just mans up, just runs through the Molotov, the smokes deploy, he runs through that smoke, just creating a ton of space for his teammates, gets a kill and is successful in his push, creates space for his teammates, and also creates confusion with Immortals. I mean, where do you look, right? Guys pushing catwalk, there's guys coming out monster, pushing to the right of the smoke, pretty crazy situation.
And he being able to connect as he is forced to retreat a little bit, but will be caught out by Toy. That's the op gone down. Looks like FNX is going to be able to escape, however. He'll make it out of the round alive with that M4. In a second here, we'll see if it was looking like possibly Toy would be able to catch up to him, but he seemed to halt his own hunt there. So he sits back, lets the M4 carry out. And now Immortals, they have a choice of whether they want to force here or save. Most players would get rifles with no utility or just upgraded pistols with utility if they should choose to go for it here, since they're all floating right below 4K. And they don't, well, they decide to just half buy on quite a few of their players here now, just right around to that 2K mark, and they'll just take that into the next round since they've got a bit of a losing bonus stacking up. So in a full 5-round streak from Rush, they do have the full losing bonus now.
Yeah, with no B presence, it's probably going to be a long A with 4 players. Blade, this is a good anti-eco, and it's going to work out well, right? He makes noise in the connector, he goes back to fountain area to watch their flank, playground's fountain area, and then these 4 guys are going to push up and take the site.
FNX finding 2 before he goes down over it long there. Rush is not able to assert the pressure quickly enough. The good news is, though, is that Blade was able to trade onto Henny when he pushed back up through the connector. So trading there, mollying off the CTs rotate as they try to work their way up. That actually, the molly isn't a green upset, though, so excuse me. It's still going to let them up, but Akis and Toy able to work together. Steel and Lucas don't use anything to try and go back into that site. They just rush it. And unfortunately, well, that's going to leave Bolts all on his lonesome with a 1v3, and he's already given away his own position from the bank. So not a lot that can be done, and you are going to be looking at Rush taking the lead here in a second.
Yeah, and I mean, there's avenues and openings for Immortals to win the round. They're just playing very sloppy right now when it comes to, like, rotations. I mean, Rush is by far the better team so far this half. I mean, you got to remember they lost Pistol. They lost the first 5 rounds. Since then, it's been 6 in a row. And they're really just cruising.
So off of that, though, Immortals getting themselves into another bye. But this is where Rush can shine out at their best on just their ability to assert aggression here, since Immortals, well, they haven't really pulled it back at all. They've still been playing very front and center with a lot of the hits. trying to get intel here, so it does give away positions to Rush's players too. And when the need should arise, well, Blaze been stepping up, as we mentioned in the last gun round there, to just push through construction towards B and really make a lot of room for his teammates. And for whatever reason, Immortals keep getting tripped up by their smoke setups and just the way that they approach the sites, and they seem to be caught off guard way too often for a team of this caliber. A lot of the utility has already been used pretty early on for Immortals as well, so they only have 2 smokes remaining along with a Molotov sitting on steel. They're pretty much out beyond that. And Rush, well, they haven't had to do anything. They just slowly push forward to take really minimal amount of map control, as they still have a minute left to work with here. And they haven't been pressured at all by Immortals just yet. Sending their players in. We will see FNX be the first up the bat inside of the bathroom connector, but again, the entry power from Rush shining through very strong right now. Immediately taking down FNX. Silent catches Henny on a peek out towards short A there. They'd find him in the corner. So another, huge advantage goes to Rush here. And what's even worse is with them rotating up, Toy isn't going to necessarily find anyone down here on B, but he will be able to find essentially just an open site and call for his teammates to rotate back in. Even Steel's position is really only going to lead to him getting just about 1 or 2 kills here, but he was spotted early on by the guy outside of the L tunnel, which allows for Little Man just to swing right out and take him down, again, with no repercussions. The good news is that Lucas did move in the meantime and eliminate the early player that had pushed back in here. So Little Man, however, is able to trade out upon Lucas after he picks up those 2 kills from within the site, and it just falls to Bolts accounting for their earlier kills here. They now pull off this in a 1v3, missing that opening volley. It's actually a huge deal, as now they know exactly where he's playing from. He doesn't have a whole lot of options to try and change up his position. So in peeking out over there from Graffiti, Silent just takes him down. And Rush continue to push forward. They're up to 7 now.
Yeah, and both times they've gone aggressive A with that fountain push against Tech-9s. They lost 3 and only got 2 kills in that scenario. And then in this scenario, they get aggro A around the bathrooms area. They don't even get 1 kill. So that A aggression just being punished by Rush. And I mean, I don't think many of us probably expected this, but Rush is just destroying Immortals.
No, yeah, I wholeheartedly expected Immortals to pull off like a 10-5 half or something greater than that here. And to have Rush actually hold the lead is extremely surprising. And once again, on the eco, it doesn't look like Immortals are going to be able to line up for much here. Akis just swinging right in through Monster, taking out 2 before we finally do see a trade. Henny at least double kills, but means very little, as once again, we find one of their players alone in a 1v3, and they have not had a good track record for upsetting, let alone on eco rounds. As FNX does sneak in. He spotted Silent, but again gave away his position by missing that shot. So Silent's able to re-peek, take him down, and the Rush lead continues to grow stronger, along with their economy, of course, as we come into the closing rounds of the half. They are 100% set, regardless of the outcome of this last round here. As, they really took full control after those first 5 rounds.
Yeah, just 8 in a row so far. Immortals' team makeup seems to just have changed a lot. I remember last season casting them when they had Zeus and Phelps. They were like one of the best online teams in the season. I mean, they were crushing people. Like, their margins of victory were insane. It was like 16-4 a lot of the time. And now it seems like online they're not performing as well, but then on land they're performing better.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story for Immortals here. And a somewhat decline possibly over recent weeks or days, or just maybe not preparing for this match as well as they should have.
I just don't think they take online nearly as seriously as they did when they had Zeus and Phelps. I'll be honest. And now that they have, I mean, think about it, you're FNX, you've been playing this game for like 15 years, right? And you've just been dominating for 15 years on LAN. It's just, I don't know, when you get to that point, a lot of the time you really don't take online as seriously, and you start doing things that you probably wouldn't normally do in a LAN setting. Silent is the better of any.
And FNX, though, being able to trade, but it's only for 1 frag. With him swinging out wide past the flower box, Toy is in position to trade it right back out, giving Rush a 4v3 advantage, causing a huge split on the Immortal side for their own players. Lucas, I think, still has the position on A. Bolts rotating up to his system, but they're actually going to send this down the connector again and over here towards B, where they only have Steel. And he's not even watching for a construction push right now. He's paying attention to Monster, as far as I can see.
Yeah, but it's actually a really good spot if they do come through, sewers, because it's not going to be their first thing that they check. But they smartly send 3 there and then 1 towards long. This is going to be a difficult move. Yep. Because now all of a sudden he has to look both sides, and it becomes very, very tough.
Immediately goes down. Lucas trying to wrap back in, and even he's got to hold it off his own little retake here. bolt since Molotovs sit in the way of that. They'll attempt it, obviously, as things are getting a little bit drastic here, and they're going into the last round anyway on the next round here, so they might as well attempt to try to make the score a little bit closer. Molly forces Toy up, but not into their vision path. And while they get the kill, it's at a heavy cost, as we can see immediately. That gives both of them away, and we just see the trades roll in. Rush have the half now, you know, in their favor 100%, and are even growing this lead even more so as they pushed up to 9, so guaranteed 9-6, and could even make it 10-5 right here, since Immortals aren't going to have the greatest buy for the last round on the half.
Yeah, just umps and M4, 2 pistols, but they got a Zeus on Henny, so they're set.
He's ready to ball out with that one. That's just the showstopper. So early on in the round, once again, Rush proceeding pretty much straightforward as we have expected here. Just a 2-1, having a Toy watch out for B aggression, which is a fairly uncommon thing. Little Man and I believe Akis playing together to push towards short A, and then 2 more just clearing out the lower tunnels really early on, but then obviously falling back now to regroup with the others. And Akis spotting Henny checking over there towards upper, but he didn't actually immediately fire off, so it does allow for him to get quite a bit of damage up before going in. No kills though, and again FNX only going 1-for-1 in these trades. That's been far too common of an occurrence for him. They do start to push back in. We still have Toy lurking over here in the monster slash water area there, and he's able to pick off bolts while finding him just a nice shot to the back. Toy was found with a nade in hand.
Yeah, even spots where we think that Immortals is going to get the kills, Rush is just out-aiming them, out-fragging them, and the timing has been insane. Even that, AK should have got the kill. I mean, that was like 3 timings where Rush players should just get the kill right away. And, you know, they obviously got 2 of them, and then that 3rd one brings them down to 6 HP in an unwinnable situation.
So Lucas is 6 HP here now and going to attempt the 1v3. The Molly re-denies him. He'll toss in one of his own. I don't think that's going to meet a connection on anyone from Rush. However, there was a guy sitting back in the corner of Graffiti, but it wouldn't have bounced that far. Okay, nice pre-fire onto Little Man, though, just right through the wall, but Blade immediately takes him back down, and Rush do indeed secure an extremely strong lead coming off of their first half here on T side now. It's going to be 10-5, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely no one expected this. So you'll want to stick with us to see if they can follow this through and take control and upset in a huge way against the Immortals. The next half coming up in just a few minutes right here, the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
All right, and we're back, and it's a big surprise. Once again, myself and www.youtube.com/GODAZED bringing you the action once again this evening. And yeah, I don't think anyone really expected, you know, this to happen now.
Where's the lower third going? That should be there throughout the broadcast. Never take that lower third. There we go. The rest of the game, that lower third should be there. Actually, we should make the lower third the middle of the screen.
Just put it over our faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just while we're casting the match.
That's the important thing, boys, is the voices bringing to the action, not the game. Anyway.
Well, actually, just the YouTube. That's the important
thing. I don't.
Anyways, go ahead. Do you have a YouTube, Blue?
Yeah, I do. I don't really use it that much, though.
No?
Yeah. I think I posted like 1 or 2 videos on it. But
really?
Try to do more, maybe.
Yeah, post some, like, you know, some of your extreme sports that you do, like the electrical skateboard.
Yeah, the drone footage. I actually do have a drone video on the YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. Anyway, into the pistol now for Rush to see if they can keep grasp over this hold here. Immortals, a team that's shown some incredible strength against some major squads in the past, are now getting absolutely destroyed by Rush on this pistol. It was the reverse for the last half, but now, out of absolutely nowhere, it's been brought down to a 1v5. The regressive push into water area just completely crushes Immortals' own strategy, and now FNX sits alone, trying to somehow clutch this out. Essentially impossible. He gets a nice lineup on a toy to start things off. It's going to be rough going from here, as he can't even find the pistol from the CT he just killed. It seems to have miraculously disappeared. So, feels bad for him. He's still looking for it. He hasn't even given up yet. Where did it go?
He needs to just spend the whole round looking for it.
Where did it go? Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Like hid underneath that cardboard somehow.
It's like looting in Players Unknown Battlegrounds.
So
Gotta look for the attachments, man.
yeah, dude. They are really off sometimes. So I gotta open the menu and just loot from there instead. Well, FNX sits back and waits for this one. Smoke just right
well, that
into his
sucks.
face.
Look for a pistol for about 30 seconds and then get smoked off as soon as you make your move. That's not very fun.
So yeah, Rush win the pistol, and this is gonna be. Assuming they don't get ecoed here, this will be like a huge lead, 13-5. Certainly, it'll basically turn into their match to lose at that point.
I mean, if they don't get ecoed, we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, we see ecos constantly.
Put the brakes on this one for a second.
Chill out a second, all right?
So quick push from Immortals now to take control of Fountain. Silent did see it, so he's just going to fall back. Obviously doesn't want to challenge a push of that magnitude, but the nade goes in and knocks off about 40 HP from Lucas, so not bad at all. The rest of Immortals now just grouping up to follow through on that one. I mean, they're just going straight forward towards A, judging from the looks of things right now. They do have the two flashbangs sitting on steel to try and toss it at that site. But the resistance is going to be waiting for them over on the bomb site itself. Already, I think, 3 here. Excuse me, 2 with 1 down at Heaven. So he can rotate back up in just a moment's notice, which he's already doing. Silent waiting at the signpost here. They are actually going to check for him, but only 1 trade from Toy so far. Blade obviously won't choose to challenge that now that he's alone. He has to wait for reinforcements. Goes into the bank, and it's a good thing, too, as well. FNX had gone down there, but still, FNX is not able to counter that back out. Suddenly, it's a 2v3 after Little Man does trade onto Lucas. Where is the other player, though? As we do see Akis coming in on a flank. It's a little bit delayed here, but he's ready to execute now. And at the moment, nobody paying attention to it. So he gets 1, but immediate headshot trade from Henny with a CZ as well. And there you go. There's the eco.
What a shot by Henny. Are you kidding me?
That was like a long-range 1-tab with a CZ.
Yeah, that was nuts. That's my Anders impression. Henny, are you kidding me? It's just like, way more laid back then.
You're just hanging out. You're a little more casual about it.
Yeah.
And they're just screaming at the screen. So Rush now, obviously they'll have their own force up here since they want to try to hold as strong of a lead as possible with it still being 5 in their favor. Bolt swinging in though, immediately takes down a first. Was he 1 trade from Little Man, but then FNX trade back. They're not checking Toxic though, so Toy getting 1 for free. He does lose Silent in the pit, and it follows through with Lucas also picking up Toy. Blade able to trade back, and he does have FNX extremely low. 10 HP, they know he's sitting in the smoke somewhere, but he found the high HP player from within the smoke. So takes down Lucas, and now FNX trying to commit to it. Blade so close!
Blade.
He needed 1 bullet, but you can't hit it, and FNX does bring the round under the control of the Immortals.
He made such a good play, just could not connect on that 1 bullet that he needed. Oh man, that was a really good eco though by Rush, and a great job by Blade coming through short, almost winning the round and also taking out 3.
So now this puts us onto their full save, unfortunately. As the force up does not end up working out, they don't feel the need to continue doing so, as they will be out of cash here. Despite the fact of how low they had brought the Immortals' zone economy, you can see that they can barely afford utility and whatnot here as they did reinvest into those AKs, but taking the half along a much more typical route here, but still trying to upset and do as much damage as humanly possible. Silent finding bolts there after he did lose his teammate in that push. More are going to move in now, however, to try and crunch on Connector possibly, but FNX is kind of sitting back and waiting for this one, so more than likely this attempt to get aggressive probably will not pan out. So a Little Man has already moved away from his own position. He did spot, I think, anyway, Lucas moving out there, but the same is true on the reverse end of that one. Henny and Akis both finding kills here. Little Man is trying to get himself in a quick flank position just to capitalize on this A control as quickly as possible. But like I said from before, they already knew that he snuck up through this bathroom connector, so they'll be able to spot him early on. Toy, I doubt, have much of an impact here, unfortunately, so it should be a pretty clean 8th round for Immortals.
Yeah, they'll win this round, and off that eco round, I mean, all of a sudden it's 8-11. Let's see what their money's at. Pretty solid. Russia is going to be able to buy in this next. What I don't get is, I'm pretty sure everybody from Russia is West Coast, and Immortals definitely is West Coast.
True.
Why don't they play on like a Southern California server?
Wait, what's the pinging? Huh. That's weird.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Silent is, definitely.
Yeah, I know Silent is.
Silent is, Toy is. I don't know about
Well, Blade is Canadian, actually.
Yeah. I don't know about Little Manakis and Blade. Actually, no, I think Toy's East Coast. I think it's just Silent is West Coast.
Really?
Yeah. So it's probably like a Denver, Chicago server.
Yeah.
Anyway, into the gun round now, as Rush are going to be able to afford the reinvestment and again still hold the decent lead.
Yeah, I mean, after that second round, I mean, if Rush wins that second round, what, they're probably up 8-6, right? Or sorry, 13-6.
Yep. 13-6 or
Look at how much different it would be. It's just that eco is just such a huge swing. Now all of a sudden you're saying, honestly, I'd probably favor Immortals to win this game just because of that one round.
As they have the huge momentum swing in their favor here. And it's up to Rush to try and stop it quickly on this gun round before the lead does get too close and that pressure really settles in for a team that still, I think you could fairly say, is a little bit more inexperienced with regards to these kinds of situations. The nice boost up in the bathrooms, though, does yield the first kill in taking down Lucas. Their attempts to, try to push them back, relatively successful, but they were going to fall back anyway, so it's a bit irrelevant. We can see Henny trying to peek back in and spot the player jumping for the APC control, and that one was close.
Henny's quick, man. He's one of the quickest.
A little bit late on the shot, so it doesn't end up connecting into the kill, but he may be able to find one here in a second if Blade did decide to peek out to check towards long. Right now, he's just focused on the short push on the sign, though. Not necessarily the other play from long, but that is where this is all going to come in from now on the Immortals. In fact, they have currently, anyway, nobody pushing down towards short. That'll change with FNX, but the main bulk is still going to work its way out here, and Blade will be challenged right from the get-go. Thankfully, he has changed his own position to focus on this. Now we'll see. Flashbang out. Blade has a chance. He only gets one, however. And in the meantime, FNX is also going to find Toy, who got aggressive outside. Silent, though, brings another one under the control of Rush by knocking out bolts on the long push, and he'll have rotations coming back up. He sees Silent, or Henny, excuse me. He sees Henny trying to go back up on the dice box, but Henny's able to recover just barely, though, with 1 HP. I didn't even see the flame. It burned a little bit at the end there, and without the time to actually plant here, we do see the Immortals losing the round to Rush, and they win it on the timer.
Yeah, and this is going to be like the pivotal round. If Rush wins this round, they should win the game. If Immortals wins this round, it's going to be very, very even by the time that Rush is finished saving. The better buy, tough to say. I actually favor Rush on this buy. They have more utility. Well, they're actually pretty close in utility, but they do have the AWP. So I would take the AWP 2 M4s and 2 umps over 5 AKs, personally.
It's going to be Rush again. Not trying to do anything interesting for the CT side at the beginning. We do have the usual aggressive player in the connector here who may find some combat in a moment, primarily versus FNX, but it's been smoked off. That doesn't mean he can't pressure it. But there's actually, excuse me, there's 2 players in connector right now. I missed the second one. Toy and Blade both playing together here, but FNX really patiently waiting for the peek from Blade on that corner if he would decide to go for it. He's alone sitting inside of here, but the rest of his teammates are outside in water. If he can just sit here and actually wait when his teammates do push into the site, he could surprise both these guys in connector, because I imagine they're going to want to try and crunch pretty quickly and prevent them from getting into the site to begin with and planting that bomb on the ground. But still all quiet.
This is intense.
Still just waiting to see if Immortals go through with this now. No one's peeked. Toy's swinging out there, so if FNX goes for the steps peek, then that could go either way. But Lucas starts his own creep, and FNX did abandon his post. So this means some really bad stuff for Immortals if they don't try to check that flank. But they do, however, it's too late. Blade swings in, picks up both the kills on FNX and Steel, and now Lucas has to fall back and defend. It catches one with an 8-0 and gets the second one as well. So they trade it right back, and now it's down to 2 for Rush. They're both here in CT main, though. And in the meantime, the smoke wall did allow for all three of the remaining Immortals members to also evacuate completely out of the site. 2 in construction, 1 out for Monster. Molotov also blocks Little Man from just going directly after them here, as you can see. And he's going to leap over, try to tag onto the bomb to see if he can get them to peek. Henny goes for it first. Silent with the smoke over the bomb. He misses the peek, however, and Henny picks up that first kill and follows through with the last one. So Immortals win out the gun round and again have their path to try and tie this up.
Yeah, and I got to say, Rush is playing very, very well on their CT side. know they lost that round, but they're having some clever setups. They made it 4v5 that round with Toy, you know, being boosted up. They're changing it up so far, and I'm liking it. Obviously, if they didn't lose that anti-eco, they honestly probably would have won this game by now. Unfortunately for them, they of course lost that. But so far, like, those are the type of things that generally give you a successful CT side, is, you know, changing your setup like that, being dynamic, not letting the other team read you.
Immortals kind of kicking into high gear now, however, for their T side, as they have swung it back quite a bit. And I believe this is the pause from Rush that we'll be seeing now, since this isn't going to be the short match and the short close that they would have expected to have after their successful first half, winning the pistol, but then struggling immediately after that. Now it's only 3 rounds away from Immortals tying it up and actually stealing the lead away from them. In this round, they have to full eco. Actually, never mind. Akish just bought, so they're going to force here.
Oh, wow.
They still have Immortals pretty low on money, so maybe just hoping that they can break them on this round, I guess. But it's not the greatest buy to attempt that, as you can see. 2 UMPs, 3 up.
Giving themselves a chance to win, like, by taking a risk like this.
Well, you always hark on this point, especially with like Winter Fox as well, about how, you know, they really don't try to do that. They play this really preservative economical strategy, and it allows for the, you know, the overdog here to try and move in and just win out all these rounds for free in most cases. So
yeah, definitely. You know, I don't hate this decision. I actually don't even think it's needed right now to be that aggressive, even though, you know, I usually do say it just because Rush is winning 12 to 9, and they, to be honest, they look like the better team so far. So I don't know if they really need to force like the issue like this, but I don't hate the decision. It's just, you know, they're gonna have to save afterwards if they lose this round.
it's an interesting one, essentially. So Lucas swinging back in, but Toy finds him first up. No one available to trade that from the front side, but Steel does round in from the mid entrance to the bathrooms there, taking him back down. But you also have Little Man working his way down from the bathroom connector itself. He picks up one, is able to get himself out of dodge from a trade from Steel. Steel's actually falling pretty slowly, so Little Man just going to get himself out of there and fall back to the A site. In the meantime, though, since they did
come down to Blade.
They did meet so much pressure over there. Blade is going to have to come out big, but all he has is a P250, and at the moment, his back is not looking to the right portion of the site. Thankfully, he's got assistance coming up from Heaven there. Blade maybe want to make a move on Bolts. Actually, no, Silent just helps out. He hasn't seen the up barrel from Henny just yet, so he's actually going to fall back over here from behind the sandbags since he doesn't know that Henny's pushing back in. The smoke now being deployed. Steel catches the flank from Little Man, and now Blade is forced forward, but he drops the bomb, and he gets the op in hand, so it's Steel alone in a 1v2 here against Blade and Silent, and Steel's only got 8 seconds to plant the bomb, just goes right forward here. Silent can't actually find him from within that smoke, so Steel's giving himself a chance, leaps into the pit and takes down Silent. Is he watching for Blade though? And he does find him! So many opportunities for Rush to close out on these force rounds, but they miss it up again! And that's gonna give the Immortals another round, which, as we were looking towards the end of it, they had absolutely no business winning.
Are you kidding me? Why did Blade go from monster to short? There was 10 seconds left. While he was running there, who clutched that? Steel?
Yeah.
He heard him the entire time. That's why he was so ready for him at short. He, of course, hears him there. All he had to do was sit in the cubby at monster. Oh, that was such a huge blunder. Rush only has themselves to blame if they lose this match. The anti-eco, that round where they were ecoing and 10 seconds, and the guy runs through a Molotov, plants in a smoke with 2 guys right next to him. Well, how do you win that round?
They almost also, you know, the round after they got ecoed, they forced into that one. They almost won that one too. It was, I think it was like Blade in a 1v1 where he had someone at 10 HP.
Oh yeah, exactly. Blade with the CZ. It's almost like they're...
He had the...
They're the Lakers right now. They're playing for a pick. But there's no draft picks in CSGO. It doesn't matter if you place last or not.
All right, that one I actually got. So now we've got Rush on a full eco here. Just a couple P250s. Blade immediately being found out there in the bathroom connector as FNX taking him out. Lucas as well, just slowly creeping forward after him and FNX are able to work together to get that first kill. They are being a bit cautious of there being a stack over on this A-bomb site. But still creeping forward. They're going to go into the Lion's Den. Well, Little Man is able to trade onto 1 frag here. He fails to convert anything else, as it's a clean sweep for Immortals to pick up their 11th. You can see one more buy coming out here from Rush, but after this, if they don't win it out, it is going to be Immortals tying the game up finally. Investment for Immortals too, and the thing is, because some of these rounds have been so close, especially on the gun rounds, and Rush have just messed up in a few key situations, Immortals never really actually built up an economy. All Rush need is like 1 or 2 big rounds, and they've immediately broken them, and they've got the control that they had at the beginning of this half right back in their own favor here.
So Toy getting aggressive. He's going to be able to look to his right if he wants, maybe kill people coming out of playgrounds. Immortals playing it very passive, though. They're saving most of their utility. They're waiting for any type of opportunistic, pushes that they could punish.
And still holding most of Immortals back here, too, as you were saying, just super passively at the opener here. And in the meantime, Rush has given up most of their own aggressive positions. Actually, no, I'll take that back. They're still really aggressive in water. They took full control here.
They have a lot of aggressive positions.
Silent still positioned way out, and you even got, Toy still putting himself up at party, and he even has support from bathrooms. That's going to take a second for the bathrooms player to swing out, but it's a good setup for a trade at the very least. And now, everybody working their way back down over here towards Monster, with the exception of the bomb, which is still in the connector. And the bomb itself pushing through the lower portion of it now. If Little Man can find that, that could really work out badly for these guys, but he's unfortunately going to be disconnected from the action over there. And Toy once more goes hunting, but looks the wrong way, so that will give Henny the initiation rights to finally pick up the first kill on this round. Eliminating Toy. Henny going to proceed forward once more, but it's actually FNX who pushes through short A, finding Blade, taking him back out. The bomb now a free path over towards that A bomb site, and Silent even peeking into Bolts, who's waiting for him right over around here in B. As Akis did rotate back in, but he's also caught looking in the wrong direction here, so just a bunch of huge angle advantages for the Immortals, and they're able to actually win this gun round in a really clean way. Little Man just on a survival mission here, but Bolts will take him down, and there you have it. The tie match as Immortals come back all the way down from 5 to 10.
It was looking good for Rush. Toy just gets impatient. They all get kind of antsy because Immortals just took so long to really do anything. Just kind of pushes up and dives to Henny there. That kind of sets it all up for an Immortals round win. But Rush is impressing me. Win or lose this game, this is like a completely different team than we have seen throughout this season. I mean, maybe it's just Overpass and they understand the map a lot better than other maps, but their CT side, they're changing their setups. They seem to have a game plan. Their T side was very well played. They were taking map control together. They were utilizing, their smokes and whatnot to make map control easier on them. They were being patient. I mean, honestly, this game should have been in the bag. It's just come down to individual fails on the part of, Rush members, essentially. But as far as like strategy, 5v5 CS, setups and everything, I mean, they've really beat Immortals in that aspect of the game.
Real test is going to be, as you said, if this is just something that they've worked for on Overpass, or they're actually going to be able to carry this forward over onto Cobblestone as well, which I think is the second map.
And Immortals has always had a very, very strong Cobblestone.
So we'll figure that out, obviously, after this one, when we get into that about 30 minutes from now. Those of you that are curious. But for this map right here, right now, Rush are on the full save. And again, playing to a little bit more aggressive positions, at least on that B side on the A side. They pushed out entirely players in the connector. Toy's waiting on the outside of A long, as we can see him tagging Steel down a little bit. Only 40 HP though, so nothing crucial. And Silent just patiently waiting downstairs. Somehow avoided all this fire, right, sitting behind the shelf there. But they still check for him anyway.
He just got annihilated.
Just kind of gets wrecked. They don't check outside immediately, though, so Akis is ready, but again, not doing a whole load of damage. Blade tries to push forward, not going to see much off of him. And Toy, in this round at least, is pretty much irrelevant to the take, so he'll have to try and just set up for a few exits, maybe to steal a gun off of one of them, but that would be the best. Immortals are definitely pushing up to 13.
Yeah, and let's see how much money Immortals has right now. So they're good on money. Rush is going to be able to buy in this upcoming round. They're going to have a pretty good buy. I think they'll be able to get an AWP as well onto Silent. But yeah, Immortals is pretty much set up to buy out for the rest of this game almost, most likely. And that's going to be pretty tough to beat if you're Rush. I mean, having said that, though, I really am impressed with Rush. They put themselves in a good position to win. Like I said, I mean, there's certain things you just can't account for in Counter-Strike. And if you have a player that just kind of whiffs and doesn't hit like the shots that he's in position to hit, or doesn't play the something the right way in a very hectic situation where there's a lot of stress and whatnot, you know, that happens, and you can't account for it. You cannot account for those situations. The only thing you can account for is trying to play, you know, properly in like 5v5 setups and, you know, things of that nature, right? General strategics, not missing smokes, you know, things like that. But those type of things you really can't account for, and that's what has put Rush into this situation.
So one of the last chances for Rush is coming up here now that Immortals have the lead back. The smoke wants to bounce there again as it misses the melee. That always happens in that spot for some reason. It's not a
Overpass is the worst for it.
It's always in that tunnel too, where it always
Both
seems to
tunnels,
bounce for some reason.
The monster tunnel as well. It's just terrible for it.
So Ake is getting ready for this. He's actually going to push out with Little Man, too. They find the first one. They try to account for the second. Bolts trades. Little Man's ready, though, so they end up getting the better of it. A 2-for-1 in their advantage. Leave this now in a 3-on-4 with most of the Immortals, again, really having no map control off of that one. They push through the tunnels. They will get Connector, obviously, as no one else from Rush pushed up to that one to try and hold it. That would be super aggressive if they went for that.
That was a bit of a dangerous push, though, because I don't think they had anybody in Connector there. So a lot of the time, if you do that, they just open up the blue door and they kill you right away, right? And those are like easy trades and whatnot. Fortunately for Rush, nobody was, you know, pushing up Connector. FNX didn't get aggro on it, but they still put themselves in a great situation. You know, just mid-round push, aggressive after they take that short B control and take back the sewers area. Now Henny's going to be long. They're going to have bomb and 2 others towards the bathrooms.
Kind of clearing things out here just to make sure that no one else from Rush had pushed up aggressively. Timing on the Molotov is pretty good as they were just getting to the gates of the site, and he may have started to push his own way in, so we'll delay things for a couple of extra seconds, and they don't necessarily have that time. When you look at it, 23 seconds remaining to get that bomb down on the site. Molotov to try and burn the player from semi out, but it goes 1-for-1 on the start. Silent eliminated after Henny actually hits the first shot, misses the second one though, and that lets Blade move up from the dice box. Now it's FNX alone, and unfortunately he's been found out, but he waits this out and he catches the first one. He knows Toy's reloading too, but Toy's smart plays ring around the rosy, still not able to hold on for the kill, and oh, he might not have gotten his plan in time because I think he missed it initially, just gets it however. So now we go down to the bomb timer. He's extremely low on it, and in a moment, Little Man is going to flank him. He lines up the shot, and it's another round for Rush. Finally back into it now as they'll retie the game up.
Yeah, but they should have won the round with 3 alive. Blade just peeking for no reason. And again, that's another one of those high pressure situations where it's kind of stressful. You know, you just got out of a Molotov, killing Henny. There's another, you know, maybe not realizing that it's like a 2v1 over there and you just don't have to peek and you pretty much automatically win the round. But again, you know, those type of situations put Rush in a situation where, hey, if they lose this round, they're probably going to lose the game. I mean, it's going to be 14-13. They're going to have $1,400.
Yeah, but on the opposite side of the coin there, you can see Immortals still having so much cash. I think we'll even have at least one more buy coming up after this one, too, with the amount of money that they're working with and the losing bonus. Obviously, small amount, but it does build up itself a bit, so they should be able to buy into the next one, even if they fully lose out here. A little bit faster on them actually taking map control this time, though, and Rush did curtail the aggression towards A, as we saw in the previous one. So now they are going to try to sneak back up with the boost behind the sign.
Another awesome boost by them, man.
Works out great to take down FNX, and Little Man also finding a frag of the bolts there as well. Lucas will want to try and trade as he pushes up towards A, but they're all safely tucked away behind Semi and the dice box. Now Blade peeks a little bit, loses about a quarter of his own HP, but a flash to allow for Toy to peek unfortunately can't capitalize by finding the player in the bathrooms. And now the long play is coming in. Steal up the bat first, he manages to take down Toy, going for a second one. Silent for whatever reason just sits there and blanks on that one. So while Blade found one trade, ultimately it is Immortals that get control of the site, and they don't have a flank to work off of this time either. Both Little Man and Akish just work their way directly up from the CT tunnels, and they're going to try to swing in directly. Henny's ready for it, though, getting the first one. He is caught trading his gun, but Steel wrapping out allows for Immortals control, reclaiming the lead, and also re-breaking that CT economy.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, look at Silent. He comes up from the green. He has so many bullets to kill him, doesn't kill him, and it just comes down to the individual, you know, prowess of the players. Like that's really what it's coming down to. And Rush as individuals are not, you know, performing well in those situations and are losing rounds because of it. Because that should have been an easy round win. I mean, that was 3v5.
Another tactical pause coming in right now from the Rush players, though, as now they're up against the wall here. In theory, they could force and try to upset in this round, but you saw the money. It's like 2K at most, and most of them are way less than that. So all you're going to be looking at is upgraded pistols with armor sitting behind it. And that would be a miracle if they were somehow able to upset there. They would have to go back to a whole lot of aggression over on the Immortals side. they're right back into having a boatload of cash. So even if they did win out the round, they wouldn't break them. They wouldn't force an easy path up to 14-16. They're going to have to fight this entire way. So do they force here and try to play for the win, or save on this one and go all in on the next round and hope that they can take this to overtime?
Yeah, but they're in a tough situation now, and if they lose this game, I mean, that's pretty devastating. Like, they're going to look back and they're just saying, how did we blow that?
10-5 lead, and they won the pistol. Getting ecoed after that and almost re-ecoing their opponents. But then Blade whips with a CZ on an opponent that was planting with 10 HP. And a few other situations that, unfortunately for Rush, played out very similarly to that, have led to this scoreline here now, with Immortals having the advantage back under their belt. Nice shot from Henny as well, just finds Little Man right at the beginning of the round in the lower tunnels through the smoke. They knew someone might have gone to just hide out in that corner when the smoke did fade away, so he immediately finds the shot there. There's still more presence, however, inside of this connector, but Henny's aware of it, and he's trying to check to counter out all of it in hopes of giving them just an easy path to claiming their 15th round, especially since Rush have decided to force here.
A little bit different of a look. Normally F and X has been in those tunnels, so they put Henny down there to really lock it down with that op. We're still worried about connector, and for good reason. Toy is in there with Aegis.
But now Immortals are going to end up swinging back up through those upper tunnels and basically just go for a full-on long push.
And they're going to take it for free. I mean, they don't even have anybody watching that at all. They're fully committed to Sewers and Short.
Rush put so much presence over there on just trying to hold connector control, so it's come back to bite them in a big way. As now they're going to have no presence there, and they'll have to retake 4v5. The only thing that would work out partially in their favor would be the general lack of utility that Immortals will have going into that site, but the same is true for the CTs. They don't really have a whole lot to actually get back in, so while one player will detect this and they have early flanks lined up because of their positions in connector, Immortals should already be aware of those connector positions, so they should account for those flanks. Lucas, even just waltzing right into the bank there to shut down Blade, and yeah, you can see Bolt's already paying attention for these early flanks to come out from the connector there. Silent and Aegis are, well, at least they're the two players that with UMPs that are left alive, but they're definitely not going to be able to pull off the retake or somehow win this round. So they're going to be falling back and saving those for what could be the very last round on the match.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even hunt if I was Immortals, because I would assume that they don't have anything better than a pistol or an ump, and I would just, you know, chill back because I don't want them to get my AK.
Going quiet here now.
Terrorists win.
And for Immortals, they did try to move out and check into the tunnels and whatnot, but unsuccessful in actually hunting down any of those UMPs. Rush preserved both of them, but the rebuy should be extremely similar. And yeah, there's that first shot from Henny again, right through the smoke. The rebuy should be extremely similar to what we had in the last round there. Maybe a couple of extra UMPs, and someone may have been able to scavenge up to a rifle, but not going to look like it. As we can see again, it's still primarily just UMPs, and Blade still on the CZ there. With the 2 saved, they were able to afford, well, 2 more now going into this next round. And they've got a little bit more utility, but most of this, since it's smokes among, they're probably going to get used right at the beginning of the round. This nade could go deep and do actually a really good amount of damage. Knocks Little Man down to about 62. Aegis boosted up, however. That could be a problem for them later on in this round, as we see him just patiently waiting up on top for when FNX will push forward. And this is a really great position for him to take up, too, as I'm not entirely sure if Immortals are going to be expecting something like that. Toy, in the meantime, also positioned over here at Party. Again, they can't win it out by fighting on the sites with these guns, so I think they've just gone for, you know, blind, all-out aggression, specifically towards A. And thankfully, that barrel kind of saves Blade's life, as had that not been there, he might have been a dead man right now. It's up all of the penetration. Now, for Immortals, they sneak in over here, but they do have to worry about potentially being crunched upon from multiple angles. And there you go, Aegis boosted up. It actually works for double duty, because he can just hide up there and look into the window, too. I didn't even realize that. So while he also stops the tunnel pressure, he can look outside, finds his first kill. He doesn't stick around, obviously. That's a very limited position for him to play from. But now Lucas trading. As they do push up to the site, takes down Silent. Henny finds the flank for Aegis and eliminates him. Blade still trying to sneak up from the pit, but even though the bomb is going down, he doesn't commit himself to it. Holds back and is going to regroup up with Little Man here. As I think they're just going to take control up on top here. He'll jump back out, gets the first one, spots another player sitting on the back of the trucks there, brings him very low, but he himself was also brought extremely low. It's a 3v2, Toy swinging in, but no, Steel and Henny will shut down the last 2 kills. And off of that, the Immortals will round a major recovery after starting off very poorly in this first map. They ended the first half down 5-10 and will end it 16-13 at the very end of the match in their favor.
Boosting up on Overpass, man. Every time they had a boost, it was 4v5. Every single time. And, you know, we all expected Immortals to win. And they did come out in the end to win, but you have to be impressed by Rush. I think they really improved a lot as a team. Their Overpass is looking pretty good. I mean, Immortals is no joke on Overpass. And they had a lot of, you know, good setups on CD side. T side they played well, used their utility well. And when we look at similar teams next to them in the division, like for instance, we watched Complexity play Overpass. And they're just a mess. I mean, they're just running out. They don't even throw smokes. They just all 5 peek everything. It's ridiculous. It's like so bad. But then we just saw Rush play it. And even though they're the lower team in that division, like people that are watching could actually learn a lot from them. And I got to give them credit, man. They played very, very well. Immortals came out, did what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to win those games. But good job by Rush.
Well, their next test for Rush will be coming up here in a few minutes on Cobblestone, but before we get to that, we're going to send it back over to the analysis desk to get their final thoughts here on map number 1 and see just what Rush did end up doing right, guys.
Well, you know, I appreciate you guys. Tried and tested, right? Rush ending the first half 10-5, looked like they were sitting in a good position, especially being that they were T-side.
Yeah, and, you know, starting off the second half winning the pistol.
Yeah.
At that point, you're thinking to yourself, this might happen.
It might happen. Maybe should have happened. Did not happen.
Definitely should have happened, actually. Days already mentioned it during the broadcast that Rush was actually playing like the better team. They were the better team that game. The only reason why Immortals were able to come back from this was, you know, slight individual mistakes from, you know, I guess in the grand scheme of things, they were big, but obviously they're easy to make, that kind of a thing. You know, those kind of mistakes from the side of Rush and individuals coming through from Immortals. But, you know, from a team aspect, it was Rush playing the better game of Counter-Strike for the better part of that.
Let's not waste any time because we got quite a few replays. Let's take a look now at round 6, where we're going to see Rush. They get a pick here, but they still are able to take B.
Yeah, so Immortals finding that first frag, and we often talk about how when you're up one man, you normally win the rounds. It's like an 80% win rate for most teams when you're up, when you get that opening frag like that. Instead, Rush does a really good job of just committing to an actual bomb site. So they decide to execute towards B. They have an actually really quick execute as well. They don't really hesitate to go around trying to figure out what to do. You can see it, Little Man just putting down nades and smokes immediately, and they commit fully through it, even though there's Molotovs down and whatnot. And actually, because they do it like this, they actually avoid most of the initial nades that come out from Immortals. And with Immortals going for a full-on retake instead of actually pushing through the smokes as well, it just gives them that much time, or that extra space to find forward afterlamp positionings. And Blade, you know, hitting some nutty shots in addition to that doesn't hurt, obviously. But, you know, this actually sparks the streak, the 10-round streak from Rush, because as you can see, they're down 5-0 in this situation. They end the first half winning 10-5.
And it almost looked as though at this point is when the sloppiness really set in with the Immortal side.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, you're up 5-0. You've kind of breezed into the start of the game, haven't run into too much of an issue. Like a couple of frags here and there from Rush to, you know, make your anti-ecos a bit more expensive, but, you know, nothing too threatening. But honestly, I think this was just Rush making Immortals look sloppier than they necessarily were. I think it would just Rush doing a good job of making life hard.
Maybe, and perhaps caught them off guard.
By playing so well.
Yeah, and that they actually brought challenge to the table.
Yeah, and you know, when you see Rush play this well, like they did on Overpass right now, that's when you become kind of surprised by the fact that they've only got 3 wins, right? Like, if they played like this and they got to Overpass more often this season, they should probably have quite a few more wins.
Well, let's get into our next replay. Round number 10. Rush gets themselves into a nice B exec here. Walk us through it, Vendetta.
Yeah, so, you know, gaining initial control towards water, and they were really heavy about this B pressure as well, but they figured, you know, again, this is, again, credit to Rush, finding where the weakness of Immortals were on that CT side, and when they first put down the smokes, you can see the immediate committal. Blade just gunning through that smoke, has a teammate right behind him as well, so even if he goes down in that kind of a situation, probably creates enough space for the next man up to find the return frag. And that's all you want. You want to create space as much as possible. And in this case, Rush finds 5 frags, doesn't lose a single person, and the 2 remaining players on Immortals are basically forced to save. So it's just the committal, the team play from Rush for the better part of that T side was just on point.
I mean, in a nutshell, creating that opening, forcing it, and then your lead guy. So you need to get in there, and you really need to.
You need to have that guy who's willing to sacrifice himself.
Sacrifice, or even just really good at passing that information along. Well, hey, look, we got 2 in the pit, we got 1 in sight, 1 playing behind Monster.
Exactly, and
very important.
Yeah, and at that point, it doesn't matter if Blade gets a frag or not. If that information is relayed, if he creates enough space, diverts enough attention for the others to get it, that's worth all. He has a massive part in those frags that happen on that bomb site, even though it doesn't show up on the scoreboard.
Well, taking a look, and as the story is told, Rush grab the next pistol.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you're sitting there and you're like, well, wow.
It's bound to happen.
This could actually happen. What happens after that?
Well, Rush, obviously, they lose the following anti-eco, which is something you see all too often, sadly, with inexperienced teams. But they do actually battle back with it as well. And, they actually mount a pretty decent CT side, but then these individuals' mistakes come into fruition.
Well, let's take a look into the later of the second half. We're going to take a look now at round 22. Rush loses a crucial 2v1 here.
Yeah, so as you can see, they're set up in a 2v2 in this kind of situation, and Blade finds Henny as well. And at this point, there's 10 seconds left on the clock. Steel has to go for that bomb plant, especially when he jumps through this Molotov here. The big mistake made by Rush this round is actually Blade deciding to go around Monster in a situation where either him or Silent could have thrown themselves into that smoke with a knife, no problem, and just gung-ho it completely, while still having an opportunity to frag, Steel when he either, sits committing to the plant or jumps out because he tries to frag. What have you, right? Pretty much all you want to do is maintain that man advantage that you've established for yourself on the side of Rush, instead of splitting yourself up and giving Steel a situation where he can actually play that off of as 2 1v1s. And that's what happens, and that's why Rush ends up losing the round.
So we see this one go in the way of Immortals, 16-13. And at this point, I mean, you kind of have to sit back and say, wow, well, we really did sleep on these guys in the first map.
Yeah.
But in the second map, there could be a thing there.
Well, I was more hopeful leading into the game that they would have a chance on Overpass, and they definitely proved that they were worthy of that consideration at least. Going into Cobblestone, I think that's a much safer pick for Immortals on their side. I think they're not much stronger, but they are stronger on Cobble, and I don't think Rush is as good on Cobble as they were on Overpass as well. So when it all comes down to it, I think you still have to favor Immortals by quite some margin.
Okay, well, it has become known to me that we will be taking a slightly longer break here as there was a CSGO update issued. So we will be coming back momentarily. But with that being said, when we do come back, we're going to have these 2 teams battling it out on Cobble. So make sure you're there to join us.